Okay, Asante, we got to go right to you immediately. You went to Gamescom. You got to meet a lot of people. You're going to put out a tremendous amount of content, but we are here to talk about the ROG Xbox Ally, both S and X versions. Let's talk about these handhelds. You got hands-on. You literally got hands-on. You got a chance to play some games. Out of the two, which is the one that you're getting and why?
Okay, so first and foremost, cheap plug, go check out the video I did.
Yes.
It is with Jason Beaumont. He's the other Jason, for those who don't know. We all know the wizard, the great Jason Ronald. I got to hang out and see him at Gamescom as well. But I also got to meet the other Jason, and he does more software and UI experience, and he's the person I'm chatting with in that video. Basically talking to me about what the UI is, what the elements were, why they chose what they chose. It was a great conversation. I think we got some nuggets of interesting stuff in there as well for those who check it out. So thank you, and I hope people check it out. So what I did, I went in there day one with the focus of putting as much putting my hands on this device as much as possible, putting it through its paces so I could really have an understanding of exactly what it is, right? And for me, honestly, like I said on Twitter, the Series S, and I call it the S because I'm sorry, mama called him an S, I'm gonna call him an S. This is the S variant, is far more interesting to me than the X variant. And why I mean that, why I say that is because, and I'm gonna write an article, and there's a lot to come, and I'll probably talk more about it on GCP, but the long and short of it for me is, like, as a guy who plays on the high end of the PC and on handhelds, right? I have a lot of different handhelds for different devices, for different use cases. So I'm a particular kind of person, and I try to understand and see what it's available for the normal guy, right? Like who is this for, if you will, right? Who is this being marketed to? What is this geared towards? And it looks to me like they spent a lot of time really honing in on making that S experience, that original one, the smaller one, balance very well before they added some extra layer on top for the X, right? The long and short of it is, this is kind of exactly the same thing they did for the S to the X on the console side, right? Only the difference between on the console side was they expected you, developer, to do different things to make that S shine. And obviously, if you don't do that, now the S won't shine. The reason why I feel like it's that paradigm is the battery is less, which is a negative, but the positive there is it is considerably lighter, right? The processor on paper is not as performant, but if you when you have the device in your hand, and that's the next video I'm going to drop. I have a video. Frankly, there's a lot of con noise and a lot of German screaming in the background. So I'm planning on wiping it all with the audio and redoing a voiceover to explain what you're seeing. And I'll put that one out probably tomorrow, if not the next. But that has me literally with the S in the hand, navigating the UI, loading up Forza Horizon 5 and seeing it load by default, and then tweaking the settings to make it to my liking, and then seeing where it was. And really what convinced me was, like, the S, when you start, it will be 720p by default. And they have a profile built in just for it, right? So you boot it up, boom, it's 720p, it's running, right? And it's already configured for you. You don't have to go in the background and tweak and twerk or do anything like that. Heck, they're even, as has been announced, they're even pre-caching the shaders, so you don't even have to know what the heck those are as well. They'll literally download, you hit play, you're playing it, it runs at 60, solid, not a problem, right? And then you start messing around, because I'm a person who likes to tinker and mess around. I'm like, all right, well, let's set to 720p. Let me set it to 1080p. I set it to 1080p. It goes from 60 frames average to 50 frames average. It drops 10 frames right there, right? But I'm playing at 1080p now on the S. Then I'm like, you know what? I want to do more. So I start tweaking the settings, getting into a medium high mix. All, like, a long story short, it all comes back to literally like 48 frames, which is well within VRR range, right? And it is such a clean experience. You are blown away. I was blown away by how this purported small device, this littler device, can handle this hardware and handle the software in such a dynamic and clean and like beautiful way. It is excellent. Now, I see people in the chat already having conversations. Yes, thank you, Wacko Games. 720p on a 1080p screen that's this big is perfection. It is not like people hear that and the unfortunate training that has been provided you, which tells you the 1080p or 1440p makes you a better gamer. Yeah, no, take that out of your head. That only matters when you're talking about a blown up 55-inch 4K screen, which you're not going to be doing, right? You're not going to be doing that on this device. This device won't even ship with a dock. Can it be docked? Yes, it can. Will they give you options to dock it? Most likely they will. They didn't announce anything officially, but they built this thing exactly to what you need it to be at the moment. Meaning, all right, the hardware is just powerful enough to get me here, but now I got the VRR screen to take me the rest of the way, right? Oh, we made the battery a little less so that it's very light and easy in the hand. And every other person I spoke to about this who was there and had hands on, they're like, it's the most Switch-like of the devices.
Wow.
And that is what did it, right? Does it mean that the X is trash? Absolutely not. That thing is an Ally X in all intents and purposes. Quality, clean, strong, and all those benefits that I'm talking about obviously are on the big dog as well, right? It's just depending on where the price falls, I feel that balance of performance to money is sweet on that lower end device. And on the higher end device where I play, right, I find that there are more players in that water. There are more competitors in that water. And in the high end, those competitors, for me, might outshine it a little. I'm kind of like done with 7-inch screens. I want an 8-inch screen if I'm getting quote unquote next gen performance, right? Like there are certain aspects of it that if you're gonna charge me the high end, I'm gonna have certain requirements because I have one of these already, right? If you don't, if you're an Ally user or first generation Ally user, don't let anything I'm saying dissuade you, right? That device is solid, and I've played with that device as well. Everything that the smaller device can do, the bigger device can do as well, and do it really, really well, really clean. I just suspect that from the money to what you get ratio, that lower end one is the sweet spot. The higher end one is good too, but you won't that dollar amount, that ratio is not as clean. You're spending a little bit more, but the benefits that, at least from what I was seeing, that you're gonna get is not as pronounced as that S. That S was surprising. It was really surprising how good it was, how clean it was. And basically, like I was talking to Aaron, shout out to Swedish Aaron. I call him Swedish Aaron. He doesn't like it when I do that. I call him that. But like we were all playing with the device, and he was like, yeah, it's the most Switch-like of the devices. I can throw that in my bag and not even think about it. Right. And that is very enticing to a lot of people. And what makes it so compelling, at least to me, is let's say it's, and we don't know what the prices are, right? But what I want it to be, I want it to be. If it is $4.99, holy crap, this thing will fly off the shelves. And if it doesn't,
do you think there's a chance that they could do what you're saying? Because a lot of people are in the same camp.
Man, like I don't know, because we don't know until we know. But there's a reason you've seen and heard every piece of this device. They have like blown the doors with all the information off of almost every part except the price. I hope it means they're still kind of deliberating and trying to find that sweet spot, because at $4.99, that is $50 more than the Switch. And let's not get it twisted. Switch 2's out here. Switch 2 be crushing, go and crush, continue crushing. Not saying that this is a Switch 2 competitor by any means, but at $500, at $4.99, this device, let's also get it, like, keep it a buck, as they say. Every time you watch a Nintendo Direct, what are you doing? You're watching 85% the next Game Pass games, with the exception of the key Nintendo titles that they keep for Nintendo, as they should, which is fine. But more often than not, when I'm watching a Nintendo Direct, especially a partner preview or something, it's games that end up on Game Pass. So imagine being able to say, for $50 more, these games are all part of your sub, if you happen to be a sub. And oh, by the way, because this is a full-fledged device, it gives you dynamism for multiple stores. Like, this thing at that price would fly off the shelves. So to answer the question, which one I am buying, I know for a fact that eventually all the great benefits that will come to the, well, most, if not all, the great benefits that will come to the Asus devices will also come here. I know that because when you check their website today, it asks you, hey, which are the built for Xbox handhelds? This one's the first one. It's still on their website right now. So that means if I can hold out with the FOMO, eventually all that goodness of the software comes here as well. So why bother buy the high end when this guy, which today this beats that high end, it is what it is, but it also costs more, to be fair, right? So again, even when it costs more, that means that if you are a user of the older device, this newer device is perfectly geared towards you. It will be like considerably less than the existing market, right? So all in, none of these devices to me are a mistake or bad or this, that, and the third. I just feel like I have an easier time of justifying the lower end because it just does so much for the potential price point, right? Now, if they're in the $600 price point, whatever, that might be me going, that's too much. But $550, $500, $499, oh, that thing will fly. That thing is brilliant at $499. You know, the ergonomics are sound. Everything is very sound. That price point is what would fly it. That's what I think.
I mean, it's a good point. Hargeet, I want to bring you in and get you, maybe you want to ask a couple of questions because again, you know, like for instance, you're, you know, a PC guy, you have a monster size rig. So obviously you're probably going to wind up going with the bigger, you know, the biggest set piece here. I was originally in the camp of the bigger the better. But after speaking to Keasante both earlier today and right now, I'm going to get the 549, but I got news for you. I think Kay's onto something. If by some chance both ROG and Xbox were spooked by some of the conversations that were happening with the pricing, now we all kind of knew it was going to be $899. We saw 549. Look, I'm going to be honest with you. 549 to $899 is a lot of money. It's a lot of money in 2025 for a lot of people. As much as it'd be nice to get the $900 one and maybe $1,000 after tax, after hearing what Keasante had to say, I'm probably going with the 549 because it's going to suit exactly what I need it for. Like, I'm not going to dock it to my TV because if I'm in the house, I'm probably going to be playing on my Series X, which is right here. But I really think that if they got spooked by the conversation that the community was having, you know, via the prices, if they are able for the holidays to drop this new console for everyone, the Series S model to $500 to $499.99, I think it's gonna sell like freaking hotcakes. And you know something, if you just take a step back, ladies and gentlemen, and you look at what Xbox is doing, it kind of seems like they're playing dominoes, but not dominoes in the way that you'd sit across from your friend and you'd get mad and curse at each other. No, I'm talking about lining up the dominoes to knock them down because Gamescom, it starts with Xbox every year at the beginning of the year. They have their direct, they show a bunch of games, a couple of shadow drops. Then we all wait until June. June happens. Gamescoms happen. Now we're hearing that in September, towards the middle of, actually, I think it starts on my birthday, September 25th. You're going to have potentially Forza Horizon 6 announced at Tokyo Game Show. And then, of course, maybe they're waiting for the price for this thing to, till then. Who knows? But we know that this console is dropping soon, so they got to give us something. It just seems like they're lining up the dominoes to just push one and watch them all fall, and really get into regions like Korea, like China, like Japan, all regions that don't even look at Xbox at all. Yeah. But this new handheld, especially at $500, Hargeet, would fly off the shelf. So I again, take it away, brother. Any questions you have for Keasante, by all means.
I mean, I don't know if I've questions. I mean, certainly you've already played with them. I guess the one thing that and you already asked this was in your video, is what happens with the NPU, which is not in the lower end model. And that would be one of the things that potentially could be something interesting just to test out. However, if the rumors are true, next year we might be getting Project Magnus devices, which will also have an NPU. And that would be a better place to actually test out that kind of capability. One of my headaches is I don't usually end up using this, right? Because the only reason I would want to get it is to see what they're doing with the UI, right? I want to put it through its paces. Hey, I hit the power button. What happens when I bring it back? Those kind of like simple things.
Which we did a lot of that. We did a lot of that. Yeah, we did a lot of that. We did a lot of, oh no, this thing is rebooting itself. Oh, it crashed. Oh, what is happening here?
Yeah,
there's a lot of booting from sleep,
right? Right. So yes, they're all computers. Yes, they're all PCs, but that's the nuance that you get, right? So, what was his name? Sir Bravian, right? Who's like, Xbox is crap, but then he got it, and he's like, yeah, but like the little things here and there really add up. It matters. Like, and like people dismiss quick resume. I thought it was like, yeah, it's a gimmick, whatever, until I had it. And then I'm like, yo, this is fucking awesome. Sorry for that.
Fine, I guess. It
is. It's just it's so cool. And like that game I was running 6 months ago, it's still there. Like what right where I left it.
And
like,
by the way, Hargi,
right?
Like this is not that part that you're describing real quick. This is not on Front Street, but we'll talk about it. There is rumor and speculation, and I'm not gonna explain it, but you know how surprising Quick Resume was, and you're just like, magic, how the heck? What? There's rumor and speculation that there is a feature of that type. Something like that.
I'm sure.
Like something like that is
beauty, right?
Yeah.
That they expand innovation, right? And so those are the things I want to look at, right? There's a lot of nuance to PC versus console. How are they bridging that gap? How does it work? I hear there's still some things you have to go back to desktop mode to update and things like that. They haven't ironed all that out. Like those kind of like, so that's the stuff I want to like. So that's why I want to get it, is just to see what they're doing. What's the innovation, where they are at that, journey that I keep saying, this is a journey, but where they are in that journey. So I can keep up with it. And then the updates come out. It's like, oh, cool. Now is this available on normal machines? Yes or no? Like that, that's the stuff, right? So it's going to be locked here for a while. We know that. So the question is like, what happens, right? So the next portable will get it. When will I get it on my homebrew desktop, right? It may never happen. Maybe you have to get that question, Magnus.
How it is all that a thing? Like I asked, because I featured a little bit in that video. This thing has all the cool, interesting things you saw on the Ally. And when you saw the game bar pop up and it had the thing inside the game bar, I'm like, how did MSI steal those features? Obviously, I knew they didn't steal the features. I asked the question, and Jason told me it's because they worked with MSI first,
they worked with them.
right?
Yep.
So the Intel chip never had any NPUs. They specifically put those chips on there because they needed Microsoft, like they worked with them to achieve that, right? So in the same instance, all those, like eventually all those features will come to the devices they've worked with. They've even announced it already on their website. So it's only a matter of time at this point.
Yeah. So I don't know which one I'd probably still get the higher end model, only because I just want to see max feature set. What are you doing? Right. This is more like the Keasante tinkering thing where you have every freaking one that comes out. Right. But why not? That's kind of what we do. We're both like IT geeks. It's what we do. So, we just want to play. And so we want to see what the heck they're doing. So that would be the reason I get it. I'm much, much more excited about Project Magnus. That sounds fantastic to me. I want to see what they do with it. Right. But assuming this is all true, we're going on some speculation and rumors, but some substantiated stuff. But either way, so like that'd be the reason. So I would probably still just get the higher end model, only because I want to see what the heck they do with that NPU. How do they scale things up? What do they do with it? But yeah, I liked a lot of the compiling shaders. They're installing pre-compiled shaders.
Pretty awesome, right?
That is a very, very cool innovation.
So right? You know what I said to them? I said, so you're telling me my friend BoomStick will never know the benefits or the troubles that is shader compilation stutter. Oh, fantastic!
Exactly what I need in my life.
Consolifying,
right? He doesn't need to know, and that's the beauty of it, right? That's what consoles do for you, because it's very dedicated hardware, so you already know, right? So they can pre-compile everything. Yeah, this is good stuff. Like, so far, it's impressing, but it's still got a ways to go, as far as like the journey is still there to be,
but not bad
completed.
Right out of the gate, though. If you consider
to give them credit, they themselves said the journey has just started.
Okay.
Yes,
excellent.
exactly.
Like,
right? So
in the video, he said we just started. They even gave me the example of, remember how Steam started with works best on deck. It started with like 200 games. Now look at how many are in there. Right now, a lot of it is you go into the ecosystem knowing that, hey, this thing is just it has a backbone for you that you can depend on. That's what they're talking about. They're gearing up all resources to take the feedback in as soon as that device hits market, so that Magnus and all the other devices will eventually get the same benefits. Right? It's an interesting case.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's good stuff. I hear the ergonomics are fantastic. The devices feel really good in the hands.
Yeah.
So that's very good. I'm happy they paid attention to that. Attention to that kind of detail is important, and you don't realize it until you have these things, but it does matter. So that's fantastic that they're doing that. Yeah, I mean, overall, like, did you get to play games that use the rumble triggers? I think Forza is one of the games they have. I
played Forza for some time. Similar? It feels excellent. It's great. It really does. The feedback is good, and like, I know people, like you were talking about the ergonomics. I know people will give short shrift to all the other side things, right? But like, I know people who, as great as the device is, if it doesn't fit in your hand, it doesn't feel as good. If you can't play for extended period of time, I know people who have returned handhelds because of that. This won't need a case. It won't need an extra ergonomic. It is literally built to just fit right in your hand. Funny enough, I was like, hey, like, see, my device is mere edge to edge, like more screen. And I was like, hey, why is it that this device doesn't have more edge to edge, like make it more screen real estate? And then you put it in your hand and you realize they put front facing speakers on there, and they don't want you to muffle the front facing speakers. So since you have this ergonomic grips, it literally lines up so perfectly that you hold it and the speakers are not muffled, ready to. They thought it really through. And I'm like, okay,
and those things matter, right? So, because the ultimate thing is about the full experience, right? So I mean, you buy like an Android phone versus another, but like, it really is the experience that matters. And like, some will tweak it this way, some will tweak it that way, and that makes a difference, right? So,
and the best part about it is it gives you the option to do so if you so choose. And if you don't choose, it's default, and you will still enjoy your day like there's no problem. It's really good.
So yeah, so it's good stuff so far, and this is why I'm so excited about Magnus, right? Just think of like the conversation we just had, amplify that like 10 times, because now you have that much more option and variety, and it gets so cool to be able to say, oh, I got this one because it does this and this for me. We have so much more fun coming down the road here. But yeah, so I don't know if you got any more cool tidbits as far as like the hardware and what their plans are next, and do they plan to do anything with that UI?
So I got a chance to play with the UI, and again, I'm working on the video. You can see all the task switching and all this and that. I will say, on the show floor, they had a lot of weird devices, and what I mean by that is they have the lockdown variant where you press the Xbox button, nothing happens. Then next to it, there's another one. You press the Xbox button and everything just pops up. And then next to the other one that you can't even get into desktop mode. They were all configured a little differently. So depending on which one you had your hands on, you were like, oh, either this is ready or this is not ready. I eventually got to the desktop, right? And of course, the desktop is completely stripped of anything. And I think that was just a build for Gamescom, right? You couldn't even hit the reboot button. Everything was stripped. There's nothing. It's empty, except for a terminal. So your boy got busy.
It's interesting, right? So of course,
and that's not to say that when you get yours, it'll be that way. That's just the build they put, because this is like I think, what was it, like almost 400,000 people showed up at Gamescom last year. I don't know how much it is this year. Chances are they all will be touching this device, there's no need to leave all the features available so people can poke around. So I suspect they stripped
make
it down as much as
make
possible,
problems
right?
and whatever for the demos, right?
But the interesting thing is some of the reviewers played these devices, and the devices themselves were older versions of what will eventually be. So some people played it with different plastics, and they were like, "Hey, this is a different feel than the one that's over there. This one looked like it was a prototype device versus, it's all still kind of in the mix." But like my confidence level that when this is done, when it like hits the retail floor, let me say this to people who may be catching my enthusiasm: don't expect this to be flawless day one, because it won't be. No device is going to be flawless day one. But why I'm excited is they have never been so serious and so geared up to actually do the work before, right? Usually they, like, as we see them, they finish up, or most of them finish up, and then they pat themselves on the back and they go on vacation.
Yeah.
These guys made it abundantly clear that when these devices hit the floor, then it's about learning what they can. Oh, this doesn't work, let's incorporate it. This makes Windows more difficult, let's incorporate it. They talk about how many requests they've already sent to the Windows team to benefit gaming. And it's just like astronomical levels already, because they know that flywheel needs to continue in order for it to get perfect. And once they're at that level, Hargeet, I suspect you will see it on your DIY device, because at that point, those benefits are generic. Anybody who has it can benefit from it.
Yeah.
I do have a question for you, Kay. You got a chance. Obviously, we talk with Jason Ronald on a regular basis, whether it be in person that we did in June. We all hung out with him. He's incredible to talk to, or in private DMs, or even on Twitter. But you also got a chance to talk with Jason Beaumont. And I'm just curious, this is a new path for Xbox, and it is a path that they are partnering with Asus to bring this, OEM device, and it's their first foray into handheld gaming, right? We know that they're currently working on their own device, which is rumored to be 27, along with the new console. And again, that's rumored to be a dockable handheld. So I would imagine they're going to be taking some of the things that they've learned with ROG and whoever else they partner with, and then move that forward. How confident are they in this partnership, but more so the device itself, and how fans like me, who I have a ROG Ally, because you helped me put it together with everything that's on that thing, right? But it's not the experience that I want. And it's not because I'm a boob. It's just that I don't want the PC experience. How confident is Xbox in this device for people like me?
I will tell you that if your barometer for a console is how it looks and how it functions on a day-to-day, this will be very, very much your device. Okay. It is when it is in console mode, it is in console mode. The Xbox experience, it is straight up Xbox experience. The controller works everywhere. You hit the button, it's playing. There's no desktop to be found anywhere. It's just hit game, play game, right? That's what it is. But what makes me even happier about that is, like you would anywhere, you play game, you hit game, and it plays. But then you go into settings, and you can change the fog. You can make the changes if you want. But if you don't know or don't care, those configurations have already been predetermined from the factory to run as ideal as they think you'd want.
Oh, that's freaking awesome.
So not only do they pre-compile the shaders, and quick lesson for my non-PC gamers, the reason why they're compiling shaders is because hardware is so different in the PC landscape that they don't know hardware A to hardware B to hardware C. And the shaders are specifically cached so that they know how your hardware configuration works cleanly, right? That's why console gamers never have to deal with that, because all your console hardware is identical. They pre-cache all the shaders at the factory. You don't have to deal with it, right? In the PC landscape, in order to do that, you must know down to like RAM, CPU, GPU, everything specifically what kind of hardware you have, so you can do that again. So they know what hardware they have. They have the Ally X, right? And they have all those. So they're doing that. That's an extra step they're doing just to make that experience more seamless for the end user. That is, to me, that is you dotting your I's and crossing your T's, right? Even the shader compilation, You don't, as a PC person, if you've seen it, you don't have to actually do anything. You just wait until it's done compiling. Sometimes it takes 10 minutes, sometimes it takes 30, depending on how much shader compilation there is, right? But at the end of the day, that is not a console paradigm. That is a PC paradigm that we're all used to. And they thought it through enough to make sure that they account and remove that from the equation to give you more of a console-like experience, right? And the people who are thinking in that way, I'm very confident in that ultimately they will make a device, or they'll make the UI that will really convince you that, yeah, I can just do the same thing I do on the console and it just runs here. Now, where I am still kind of wait and see on it is, yeah, the stuff that's out there today that they're working on, of course it will work. It will work great. Where I'm concerned, not concerned, but where I have questions that I still want them to answer is, what happens to the old stuff? What happens to the stuff that isn't geared towards this UI UX stuff, right? What happens to the old game that needs a certain thing to be downloaded before it will run? What happens to the games that have just, some games need to see a keyboard mouse connected. If they don't see a keyboard mouse connected, they won't run. They just won't, because they're made for PC and they need to see a keyboard and a mouse connected. This device inherently doesn't have that. What does it do for those, right? And these are all fixes that can be had. All of them. In the Steam example, right? They notice something weird, they put new code into Proton, it fixes it. This is why I'm excited. It's not like, okay, they've finally done it. It's like they're finally ready to tackle the issues that always scared off gamers from being PC gamers. They're finally ready to kind of smooth those rough edges over, because for years they had no incentive to do that. You're a PC person, you bought your hardware, you'll be able to figure it out. Now they're co-opting that PC ecosystem or that operating system to more of the console gamer who won't figure it out, shouldn't figure it out, and shouldn't have to figure it out. So now they're going to do all the legwork to make that as seamless as possible. And that's a very exciting place to be if you are a person who games on PC and have dealt with a lot of these weird issues, right? Eventually, the reason for excitement is, whether you're buying this hardware or not, this will benefit all PC gaming eventually, as they find these fixes and apply it to everyone who games on PC. There will be a world where all you guys just go, PC gaming, it's the same as console gaming, and it'll be seamless because they're finally working on it. You know what I'm saying? These are the same people that worked on the console you like. They just haven't cared enough to bring all those learnings to the PC, and now they are. So this is where the excitement is.
You know, Hargeet, I actually have a question for you, because obviously you have a monster rig. Like, what video card do you have right now? You have what, the 5090?
4090.
I said 50. The 4090. 50 is sometime next year, I think.
Oh no, it's out. The 50
is out. It's out.
It's just good luck paying the $3,000 or whatever to buy.
Yeah, no thanks.
And there wasn't enough of a bump, and I'm like, I'll wait for a 6090. Or maybe Magnus, right? And we'll see what happens. But.
You know, and that's actually my next question. And I think this is a question for both Kay Asante and Hargeet. And of course, the chat, I want you guys and gals to get involved. You know, the one thing that I think jumps off the page for a gamer like me, right? Like, I'm not a PC guy. And I've said this before, when the new Xbox comes out and allows for this open source box, this magic box, you know, the one, you know, to rule them all, and it gives you the ability to play your Xbox games, whether it be on Game Pass, on PC, or your entire library through ownership. Fine. But it's also going to give you Epic Game Store. It's going to give you good old games potentially, but Steam, right? Now, Steam is something that I do own a couple of games.
All that stuff.
Yeah. So again, it's awesome. Gentlemen, do you think that with what this console, this handheld, can do, allowing you to, because again, you got to remember, we had heard right before the showing of this thing where it was hands-on that they were working on, you know, everything to show up on your screen, you know, in one location. All your games from everywhere are going to be there. Is this a glimpse into the future of what Xbox is doing? Is this the first step for Xbox and its next generation console potentially releasing an OEM device next year and their own device in 2027? Hargeet, I'll send that over to you, brother. What do you think?
Unless Kay was able to ask that, that'd be awesome if you actually got some.
Did you ask that?
There.
You know what? Did you ask that, Casante?
So the idea being like, is this aggregation platform the basis of their next gen work?
Yes.
So in that video, I didn't ask that, but I have spoken to them in various forms, and I would be very, 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 very stunned if all of this does not show up there. The aggregation platform, it's and as I speak to you guys, I could share my screen. It's showing me I now have a Game Pass game installed and has a little Game Pass icon next to Acts of Blood, the demo, and it has a little Steam icon next to Avatar, and it has a little bit Ubisoft icon. They all live side by side. That's what it looks like today. It's not done because some of the icons don't look absolutely perfect, but today they are already walking down that path. So like I will tell you, I would be stunned if they do all this hard work. And boom, I just shared my screen if you want to see it. I would be stunned if they did all this work and then what did they do? They just left it alone and they didn't bring it to next gen.
Bring it up.
Like, that'd be surprising to me. Yes, there we go. There we go. So, right, today, this is what you're seeing, right? You're seeing a Game Pass game next to a Steam game, next to, like, this is how it works. And if you go into under my games, these are all the installed games. Again, like I said, it's not ready for prime time, so some of the icons aren't ready yet, but you see the icons one next to the other, right? And this is all the legwork being done for all that future. The future is about the hardware.
Freaking awesome, dude.
Right? Look at the connections. You see the connections? Here's your Steam and your GOG and your Epic and I don't even have EA in here. And Ubi I haven't installed, so I have to re-enable it. Right? As more stores show up, so too will they show up here. Itch.io, all of it is all going to be connected, just like this. Right? You hit the game, boom, it's in the library. Today, these games that are more Windows, like the ones that are from their store, is far more visibly pleasing than, say, a game from Steam. But this is not Gen Pop. This is not day one, right? These are all the updates that every week or two I get another one, right? So next time, before, the updates had Beyond Two Souls with goofy looking icons that weren't quite there yet. Now that's fixed, right? Next time it's more of the UI UX and what you see in the game and all of that, right? So honestly, I say all this to say, yeah, this is what they're doing today. I would be stunned if this gets all thrown away and then next gen they have a different paradigm. So get used to what you're seeing here, folks. This is probably what's going to look like somewhat, some way on your new hardware that's going to show up. And this is Game Pass. This is your own library. This is the cloud, and this is the store. And they're all right there, and they function with a controller first. No problems. You hit play, and you're off to the races, right? So it's not ready. I will say it again. It's not ready because there are lots of bugs, and we see a lot of little this, that, and the third. But this is the paradigm they're going for, and I'm very confident that you will see this in next gen as well.
I mean,
yeah.
Go ahead, get Harkeet, take it away, brother. Any questions you have for Kay or any thoughts?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'll say pretty similarly. Like, you can do that today on your console as well, right? If you get Ubisoft Plus, you will see the little logo of Ubi for that game. Game Pass, obviously, you get to see that logo. And I don't know if EA. I think it does.
EA does as well.
Right?
EA does as well. Right? Yeah. Right now, at this moment, I don't have any EA games installed, so that's why you don't see it here. But if this is
PC, right? So
yeah, this is on the PC side. Yeah,
this is a PC. But even on your console today, you can see those logos.
You can do that. Yeah,
and you have cloud options and whatever. Right? So all that stuff's there. Ultimately, I think the next console is going to have just more of them. Right, more will show up. The question is, how does it connect up? They'll figure that out. How they maybe they have that on the website or something like that. Maybe they can do it directly. You might be able to just log into your Steam account on your console, et cetera, right? They'll work through all that piece. But you know how you connect Discord, right? You can connect your Discord to your Xbox as well, right? Just like that. So they just have these integrations. Once they're there, it just shows up in your library. You do what you need to do. The questions are more what happens, like you were saying, Case. Like, what happens with games that want certain things, and it's tough to make that happen on console. they're going to have to plug into that and figure out what to do, right? So, on Windows, the API calls are there, whatever, they can intercept and say, all right, well, yeah, it's looking for a keyboard and mouse, but we can say we have one. It just happens to come up on the screen, right? Things like that. Dialog box is coming up. Well, let's make that dialog box, friendly for controller access, right?
They've already actually done that one. Like even today with in that one, in the UI UX of the new UI that we tested out at Gamescom, you can get rid of a UAC prompt with a controller now.
Yeah.
Right. No need to
and that's another one that they probably should be thinking about, is like, if you don't have your general apps that you're downloading and they've locked everything down, do you need UAC? Can you turn that off? Right. So
I mean,
still Windows.
Those are the things that they need to work out, because chances are you'll still be logging in with the same account, right? So potentially, if somebody were able to circumvent you, they could get into things if they haven't locked it down in another way. But yeah, to your point, there has to be a more convenient gamer focused way to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And for those who don't know what UAC is, if anybody's on Windows, you probably have seen these prompts, but user account control, basically it brings up a prompt when you do anything that needs elevation into the system. Before you say install something, it's like, hey, do you want to do this? It's going to do some admin things. Are you okay with that? Right. So I'm sure everybody's seen those prompts, but that's what that is. You can turn it all off, right? Up to you. You decide whether you want it or not. They default it to kind of a normal general user when you're in Windows, but you can play with that if you want to. But in the case of this, in a console, think of it more like, should you have to enter your PIN? Right. Maybe that's kind of the thing, right? They change it to that, so, which you do have on the console, right?
Yes.
You
to
have
the point
that
of
feature
the PIN,
on the console.
How they were able to thread the needle as far as the hardware vendors is, they still, because it's Windows, they still need you to acknowledge and make sure that you don't throw your accounts all over the place. But at least, like, for example, here on the Claw, the power button is a fingerprint reader, so no need to enter anything. As soon as you're touching it, boom, you're in, right? And possibly in the example of the UAC prompt, that is probably another avenue they can look at, which is find a way of acknowledging, hey, I'm in console mode now. Maybe now I wipe away or I enclave any kind of real accesses except for my games. Yeah. And now UAC is no longer necessary. Something must be done, Yeah.
And this is why I want the device, is to see these kind of things. What's the innovation they're bringing there? Right. This is why I'm happy with the low end, right?
Yes.
Yeah. It's like, I don't want to have to log in. I don't want to have to, like, even with the fingerprint, why isn't it like my console? I understand now there's a slight difference here. You're taking this with you. It could potentially be left somewhere. Right. And then you got to be very careful, because now it has access to your account. Yeah. And I assume you still have access to the Edge browser. Right. And therefore you can do all sorts of things. Even if you don't have other software installed, it could still do all sorts of bad stuff. People could leave junk on there, or whatever it is. Right. But they could.
This is Windows after all. It has the fundamentals of your account, most likely.
So you have to be a bit careful with that,
find some way around it. Yeah, that's right.
It's less likely that you have that with a console. Though people did create, there was the flip screen thing for the Series S, right? And I'm sure people actually take that with them. Hopefully they don't forget it. But anyway, but either way, these are the kind of things I'd be looking for. But as far as your question, Boom, I think this is sort of the prototype of where it's going to be. My guess, and I haven't heard otherwise, is there's going to still be the Windows 12, Windows 11 world, and it's going to have this as an option. And then there's going to be a console OS world where they're going to feature, bring more features in from the Windows side to give you those stores, but it's still a console. So it basically locks down the ability to do any of these kind of things that we can do with the Windows side of it. And then you get to choose, right? So I don't know that, for instance, they would bring over Nexus, which is the big modding, collection and engine, right? So for those who like to do modding on the games, you might want to prefer the Windows version, right, where you can go do that.
Here's that. there is an interesting conversation to be had there. And you asked about some of the interesting tidbits on the background. As of today, the way they handle the front end Xbox console stuff, you cannot have any overlays except the overlays that have been blessed by them. All right. So today I can hit the button and I just hit the button and you guys won't see it. But today you can hit the button and you can get like statistics to pop up, right? When you run this thing in Xbox console mode, the only one that'll pop up that way would be the Asus Armory Crate stuff,
Armory Crate,
or
right?
Microsoft's own, right?
Yeah,
they don't have like availability for just any other one to just run. You try it, it won't work because the way that the Windows has engineered it, obviously to the point. Are you going to leave River statistics alone? It has become one of the default ways that people do that. Or maybe that's not important. Discord has a front-end UI, overlay UI when you're playing games. How will that work? Will you require people to move to the desktop? You say having no desktop gives you a couple gigs back, which they've reiterated multiple times, and they're trying to even take it further.
Nice.
If you force people to go into the desktop paradigm, they've lost all of that. There's a lot still there.
Yeah,
super interesting.
And these are the integrations that I'm hoping they're thinking through, right?
Yeah,
to say, we will, and I think in the future, I think Nexus will say, hey, wait a minute, why can't we work with you to make that available? Right now, it's Windows. Now you don't have that excuse. How do we make it work? Let's work together to make that happen, right? But yeah, your point of other overlays, Discord's an obvious one, right? How do you do that?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Today it doesn't work.
How do we do that?
Right. Yeah.
And so, they should absolutely be working with Discord to figure out how to make that work. There'll be others, but here it becomes a more open platform of like, hey, I'm already on Windows. I want to make it work through your new thing, Microsoft. Right. Because now it's not like this third party working on its own, doing whatever it wants. It's, hey, Microsoft is the platform. Work with them to figure out how to make this work.
Yeah.
And as long as they're open to it, that's going to be fantastic. And I hope they like, as a gaming thing, they're like, yeah, every gaming thing that people want to do, let's look at it and find a way to make it work. Fantastic stuff. But this is the journey. That's why I say it's a journey. It's going to be a while before it's like really good, but once it's there, it's going to be pretty freaking awesome.
They have finally started walking the path, bro, and that's what's so exciting. How long have we been asking them to start walking this path? Had they been walking this a long time ago, they'd probably be as good as Steam by now. They're starting to walk the path.